Hello and welcome to this James the Bike Guy video where today we're checking out a really cool bike, and in fact one that is so cool, or at least to me, that I went ahead and bought this exact one. So here we've got the Trek Top Fuel frame set, but this isn't the carbon fiber wonder bike that most of us are used to seeing on reviews, but in fact this is the all aluminum variant. So in this video we're going to go over some of the features of this bike. We'll take a look at a couple of the cool details I've seen after drooling over my brand new rig, and then of course we're going to find out just how heavy is the aluminum frame set. So with the frame out in front of us here, it is just such a beautiful setup. So this is Trek's Top Fuel model, and the Top Fuel is their XC race bike that is now turned downcountry. So when I say downcountry, this thing is going to have some pretty aggressive geometry for a short travel trail bike, but it's also now going to be running 120 millimeters of rear suspension with either 120 or 130 in the fork in front. And the frame itself is made out of their Alpha Platinum aluminum. And so the Alpha Platinum aluminum does have some partially smoothed welds, runs internal cable routing, which I'm going to show you something pretty cool about that. And then in back, you're going to be outfitted with their ABP suspension design. And basically what ABP is it is a suspension design that's going to run a modified single pivot setup. So right around the rear axle is a concentric bearing setup. And essentially that means your chainstay plus your seat stay are going to both connect on the rear bearing, which is where the rear axle is housed. And that allows the suspension in the back end to compress in line and keep the brake in the same spot in relation to where the suspension travel is, meaning that you're not going to get any brake jack from a setup like this. And then it's also going to be utilizing a single pivot design going through that chainstay so that you get good pedaling efficiency out of it, lots of anti-squat built in, and then a rocker link up top to provide some progressivity to that rear shock. Now on these guys, they are coming with the Fox Float DPS shock. This is the performance variant, so it's got blacked out stanchions. It's going to have a climb, trail, and descend position for the damper in the rear end, and be rebound adjust capable as well. Now, cool feature about the rear suspension is there is a high and low pivot option. So that means you can adjust out what they call their minnow link. And so with that adjustment of the minnow link, you're going to have in a high and a low position for angles. So if we talk front end, that's 66 degrees in low, 66.4 in high. When we talk our seat tube angle, we're at 70 degrees in low or 70.4 in high. And then our chainstay on this bike is going to be rocking 435 millimeters with a bottom bracket drop of 3.1 in high or 3.6 in low. That means this is going to be a pretty slack rig, especially for something that we're considering cross country. And that geometry is really reminiscent of what they had on, say, the Fuel EX from not too long ago, just now with a slacker head tube and a steeper seat tube. Now that 66 degree head tube angle is courtesy of a 1.125 to 1.5 inch tapered head tube setup. Now keep in mind this does run their knock block system, which keeps the fork from coming around and contacting the down tube. And in the down tube, we have our frame storage. Now this is really one of the reasons this bike sold me. So I never used to be that into frame storage until I got a carbon bike last year that had it. And I pretty much have decided I don't want a mountain bike without frame storage. And in fact, when Trek released this one in aluminum with frame storage, that was a really key thing for me. But something that is very neat about this is in high-end carbon mountain bikes, they'll run sleeves for internal cable routing so that your cables don't rattle around, don't cause troubles getting set up. But on this bike, they're running cable liners so that it's going to be easy to send through the cables, and then they're going to pop out right on top of the bottom bracket. Now, this bottom bracket is threaded with an ISCG mount, so you can run a chain guide on this rig if you wanted to, a very nice chainstay guide, a 34.9 seat post insert, and overall a pretty cool bike. Well, at this point, we've been going on way too much about features and blah, blah, blah. Let's see what this frame weighs. The actual weight of this Trek Top Fuel AL in a size medium large comes in at 3,882 grams. Well, thanks so much for checking out this Trek Top Fuel with me. Go ahead and let me know what you think about the Top Fuel AL. Would you get this in aluminum or hold out for carbon? Or what bike do you think is better than this Top Fuel? Well, anyways, I can't wait to hear that down in the comments below. So leave those and definitely hit subscribe if you enjoyed the video so we can check out more videos on things like this here in the future.